Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release, the gold standard of video game history. Welcome everyone to March 1982. We last played Formula One Racing, the very first video game made by Sid Meier. Yes, the Sid Meier. Let's press forward and see our next game. We're next staying on the Atari home computer, and this is Gridiron Glory. Let's take a look at Gridiron, starting with the artwork. All we got is a 5 1/4 floppy disk. This is by Bob Graves and Mike Drury. Way to go, Bob and Mike. And you can see APX. So this is another one by Atari Program Exchange. Oh, different manual. So this one is another, maybe it's good, maybe it's not, but I really applaud Atari for doing this, giving a lot of developers a chance to program for the Atari computer. So you get all kinds of really interesting games. And we're going to see, especially as the 80s unfurl, more and more games programmed by APX into realms of pushing what video games can do. This one, though, depends on your mileage, because this is a sports game, but not the kind of sports game you'd think. So this is coach your favorite football team to victory. Mike Drury and Bob Graves did this one. You can play with the Atari joystick. It looks like disc version is all there is, so you need 32K of RAM for it. And it looks like they have a different logo for APX, but I dig it. It looks nice. Yes, no credits. We're going to the maybe arcade. If it's Gridiron Glory, though, I'm pretty sure this is going to be football. Your favorite football team to victory, ages 12 and up. And the manual has anything about the game itself. Atari Program Exchange. We'll breeze by the table of contents. Gridiron Glory is a professional football simulation played from a coach's perspective. Oh, is it a management game? Using a combination of keyboard and joystick control commands, you and your opponent coach any of the 28 professional football teams. Whoa, professional, okay. Each team's programmed with a different profile based on more than 30 statistics, such as punting and field goal accuracy. The 25-second clock ensures a fast-paced, exciting, and sometimes nerve-wracking game by forcing each coach to make his play selection within a limited amount of time. You have 8-minute quarters to outcoach and outscore your opponent. So I'm going to plug in another Atari VCS joystick in case we have to have two people. But it looks like we'll need 32K of RAM. How do we get started? Load it up in the disk drive. Enter the team names. After the program's loaded, the message asks to enter the name of a team to receive the ball. You can select from any of the 28 professional football teams and enter the team's city name. Some of the cities are abbreviated, referred to Appendix D. Okay, so to know what team you can type in. So there's no selection. You don't use the joystick for that. After you type in the name and press return, it asks you the name of who's going to kick off. Okay, so we follow through those, and then what happens when we play the game? Is it action, or is it just a coaching game? Offensive coach has 25 seconds to call a play. They have 5 seconds to call the play, and after that 25-second clock's down to 15 seconds. After the 5-second period's elapsed, the defense may still call a play. Oh gosh, yeah, they're already starting to pretty complicated, which means this is a management simulation slightly. But you can see you can put different keys on your keyboard. The commands are field goal, punt, coffin corner punt, or spaceball to call a timeout. I couldn't imagine playing this with two people. If you and your friend were by the Atari computer, that means you would be using the keyboard to call plays when you're on the offensive. Very interesting. And it still does the buttons you'll see on the Atari 800, start, select, and option. And this allows you to make other minor changes to the game. Yeah, right? The Intellivision one did a very complicated version of football, and they had the license for the NFL. So I don't know if this has the license. I think they're just using the team names. Maybe not with the license. All right, so you can use the joystick also to do plays. It shows you where to move it and then push the button. So you're actually taking the VCS joystick, moving it, and then pushing a button for offense and defense. Blocking punts, kickoffs. Okay, so it might have some action. At least what it says here in the manual. Let's pop in and play some Gridiron Glory. This is by APX at some point at the beginning of March 1982 by Mike Drury and Bob Graves. Let's see what it's like. I don't have super high hopes. We've seen a lot here on the channel. A lot of sports games, a lot of simulation games, and for an APX game to try to do something better than what we've seen, it's risky. Okay, here we go. Receiving team is, now I didn't refer to the appendix, but we'll just say Detroit. And kicking team is Dallas. Let's see if it figures those out. It works. Okay, so those two names work, but you could always go to the manual. If you didn't have the manual, what would you type in? It even said some abbreviations might work. So here we go, Lions versus the Cowboys. And we got a title screen with very bizarre music in the background. I don't even think it's music. That's just sound effects. Is that meant to be loading? We've heard so much better sound and music on the Atari 800. What are they doing? Maybe it's supposed to be the crowd in the background. 1982 sound effects. So you can see the copyright's 1981, most likely when they started programming it. All right, so we're beginning. Let's see how this works with the joystick, if it does at all. It said we could figure out, oh, it's still loading the game up. So it's showing mostly stats at the top of the screen. The bottom of the screen is the field. Do I have control now? No, it's still loading into the game. Very slowly. Yes, we haven't seen it yet, but I actually don't know what we're going to do with that one. It is so complicated. Okay, here we go. We begin. Now we get to decide how to do the kickoff. Do we say... Oh, nice. It does work. So the VCS joystick is not for action. All I'm doing is using the joystick to answer the commands. So I just did the kickoff, and now we're receiving, and now it's playing the football game as a simulation just by the symbol of the football down at the bottom. And then whenever it's time, you make a decision with your plays. So I'm using both joysticks plugged in right now. And you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's 2 question marks. Now there's 1. Whoever makes the decision, I'm going to put my decisions in, and then we go. And it executes. So you can play with 2 people, being a little incognito, you know, setting your plays with your VCS joystick without the other person looking. But there is no actual action. What's playing out is more statistics-based. How well the team does and the players do, and then it just shows a symbol of the football moving back and forth on the screen. So it's a slight management game, or a watered-down management football game, and then a very watered-down football game in general. So if you really enjoy stats and making decisions with plays, but not actually controlling players on the field, then go for it. But we play way better. Yeah, so I'd say Gridiron Glory is a noble attempt, and fun for something if you wanted to play a simulation style, but for everything else we've seen at this point, I'd say Gridiron Glory is bad. It's a 2-star game. It's not something that's as enjoyable as the other sports titles, especially for the home computer. Oh man, we got a lot to live up to, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm with you. We play every genre here. And after Gridiron Glory, let's see where we're going now. We're on the Commodore VIC-20. This is Harvester. Hey, William Shatner, let's sell some VIC-20s. No box for this one, just a few screenshots. We're going to pop in and play Harvester. This is another one by Pixel Productions. It was part of a combo pack. The other one was Brainstorm. So Brainstorm and Harvester were both in the same one. Here we go. Harvester should be a totally different game, but I think it was on a puzzle pack for the VIC-20. For some reason, the Commodore VIC-20 games have been split apart if they're a combo. So we're going to see each individual game rather than the whole bulk combination of games. Pixel Productions presents Harvester. We got an opening. Nice. Wasn't expecting that. We didn't get anything like that on Brainstorm. All right, so what do we want? Instructions. How do we play this? You push I for instructions. I'll push I again for instructions. Oh, push I. There we go. This is a game for up to 4 players. The object is to harvest booster spice in the radiation fields around the planet Delta. Okay, it must be science fiction. The harvester craft can move only in a straight line. Oh, and it's giving us examples vertically, horizontally. Okay, yes. Nice presentation for the training. The number of units collected is recorded for each player. To enter a move and choose a craft, you do A, B, C, and D, and then a direction. Okay, so you're putting in a command. Enter it in the manner as A6, B1, C8, etc., and press return, okay? If a player finds that he or she, they don't say she, cannot make a move, they're out of the game and loses their score, okay? So this means you can play up to 4 people if you had 4 people that would want to play a slightly puzzle game, I'm guessing. Did we lose the game? I feel like we're playing... Oh, it is loading. Thank you. Thanks for telling us. We played a ZX81 game that just stayed on the screen and didn't tell us anything. Which, maybe we didn't wait long enough. But doing a live stream playing games this old, I want to fast forward and get right to the gameplay as soon as we can. Come on, let's go, Harvester. I believe in you. Maybe we will go a little faster here. Oh, we're in. Yes. Okay, so there's the grid on the left side. And if I wanted to move, for example, looks like A is white, B is red, C is blue, and D is green. So if you played with 4 people, you start with, okay, white goes first, right? So we'll say A, let's move them down. So that'd be A5, and then hit enter. And then the white one now moves down, and you get the points for the number of things you've harvested. So A has now 14, so if we do red to get the most, I would say B go up. B1, so now red goes to the top. They have 13, looks like C, the most they could get is to the left, I guess. So we'll do C7 to the left. No real loading here. Well, I'm not trying to keep it as authentic when it comes to loading, because no one enjoyed that in 1982. All right, and then finally D, green, let's go to the top. Let's go 1. So you make the decision, each command, and I don't even know, does it allow you to, do you have to go in that order? Let's go to green again. D, let's go 7. And you can even go diagonally, it looks like, to get a lot of points. So let's keep going. D, let's go 4 and go across the screen. Oh, but you stop at empty. Okay, so you only can keep going if you make the chain for each one. I see. All right, so let's go C and move C down. So we'll do that. Okay, really easy premise. And the way you play, like if you were in control of the red person, I want red to go to the left. So we'll do B7. Send him to the left. He stops at the left. And now I know I can go B and, oh no, wait. B and go 5 and then go down. And then collect a lot of points. So yeah, it's a multiplayer puzzle game. A very simple one, a simple concept, but works really well. I'd say for puzzle games, they're kind of few and far between, at least good ones in 1982. So I'd say for all the games we played, it's still subpar. 2.5 stars for Harvester. Cool concept. I dig it. All right, and after Harvester, let's see where we're going now. Our next game is on the Atari home computer. This is Hexapawn. Hexapawn. If you're not familiar with that term, it's actually a board game, believe it or not. We have no box for this one, just a screenshot. Let's pop in and play some Hexapawn. At some point in March 1982, this is by Alan J. Zett, published by Softside Magazine. Let's see what you got, Alan. Now, Hexapawn is a combination of tic-tac-toe and chess. Very easy idea. The game of Hexapawn is played on a 3x3 grid with 3 markers for each player, and markers removed in the same manner as chess. And you're just playing with 3 pawns. So 3 pawns against 3 pawns. A marker can be moved forward up to an empty cell, and they can be moved forward and diagonally. So very simple idea. It's really like we're blending tic-tac-toe and chess, making a really watered-down version of chess. Very simple. Game's won in 3 possible ways. You either move your pawn to the other side of the screen, or you capture all the opponents. Or you plan moves to make the game unwinnable. So if you're really good at the game, kind of like tic-tac-toe, most of these games end in a draw. So what kind of mileage are you going to get with Hexapawn? Although the computer is programmed to make its different moves at random, the computer will not remember, the computer will remember how it lost a game and will not try the same random move again. Enter your first name. Last person in chat was L. Curtis B. And now you get to move. So you plan and put in, I guess, coordinates for how you want to move. So if we say we want to move 8 to 5. And so the middle piece moves, and now they're going to move 3 to 5, and they capture that one. And we can capture ours. Well, let's move 9 to 5 and capture their piece. And then they're going to make their move 1 to 5 and capture ours. And then I'll do 7 to 5. Oh, wait, 7 to 5. And there we go. We win with a draw. And that's how the game is. It's very simple. You're just playing 3 pawns on either side. So I'd say Hexapawn, I'd give that even worse than Harvester, at least for puzzle games go. But it depends on, you really want, it's like tic-tac-toe. It's something you could play on a board game. All right, so I'd say around the 2-star rating, it's a bad title. Maybe even less than that. I'll say 1.5 stars. It's an excellent version of Hexapawn, if you wanted to play Hexapawn. So there you go. That's Hexapawn on the Atari computer. Let's press forward and see our next game. We're back on the Commodore VIC-20. This is Invaders. Just Invaders. Part of the games pack. 5 great games, it says. Any of the other titles that we can see? Nothing from this side, but this is by Melbourne House, so we're going to go to England and play this one. Here we go. This is Invaders. Released at some point at the beginning of March 1982. How do you play Invaders? I wonder what kind of game it is. Oh man, look at that. Okay, so the controls is keyboard only. Joystick did not work, and we've seen other Commodore VIC-20 joystick games work just fine. But, oh man, this is the clunkiest version so far we've seen. We've seen a lot of Space Invaders on the oh my gosh. Even the shot you fire moves slow. Wow, yeah. Now, if you were hard-pressed to play Space Invaders on your Commodore, you must be drunk, or you have no other game or money to play. It is part of a games pack, so you got multiple games in one, but this title, oh man, it's even slow to responding on the keyboard to move around. Oh man, I can't even do it justice for the controls. So keyboard only, I'd say borderline broken. We're going all the way down to 1. 1 star for Invader. Yikes. Avoid this game. Don't play it. Yes, I believe those were all basic for the games pack. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. It's Atari again, the Atari 800. This is Knockout. Let's take a look at Knockout. Starting with the box. Sports Illustrated. Whoa, wait a second. This is the first game we've ever seen with Sports Illustrated on the front. This one is by Microcomputer Games, or Avalon Hill. Looks like it says... okay, it's all the different computers in the fine print in the front. Nice artwork, though. Looks like we got a boxing game for us. Flip it over on the back. Anything on the side? Yeah, Sports Illustrated is labeled on the side. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Reith Saxon and Ward Boxall bringing you yet another fight of the century from the Microchip Gardens. Tonight's match is a classic confrontation between the unpredictable game player and the nearly robotic champion, Atari 400 or 800. How would you analyze this match, Ward? Well, Reith, they did it like a commentary. That's awesome. Knockout's an easily playable game that features detailed, high-resolution color graphics. Each player can control every action taken by the boxer with joystick, yes! The outcome of each match will be determined by your own speed and skill. It is in your hands. Utilizing the sound and animated color graphics of your computer, Knockout's ready to run on your Atari 400 and 800 with a 410 recorder and 16K only. I wonder what it'll be like. There's an example of the screenshot in the bottom left and the cassette tape. Let's take a look at other artwork we have for Knockout. We have the advertisement with some other things by Avalon Hill. Looks like Road Racer Bowler. I don't know if we've seen that one yet. And Draw Poker, probably won't even check that one out. But there it is on the left, Knockout. And the cassette tape will be playing. You flip it over, it works on... Oh, okay, this one only is Atari. Usually we have the cassette flip over and you play on other computers, but not here. All right, so let's take a look at the manual for Knockout. Avalon Hill Sports Illustrated. I still blows my mind. The very first game that was represented by Sports Illustrated. I feel like Intellivision should have done this first instead of on the Atari home computer. So, 2-player game simulates the sport of boxing. Whether you're a fighter that fights like a world champion or a clubhouse reject is determined by your speed and skill in operating the machine. So, loading instructions, we can breeze by that. How do you start the game? Begin, you press start, and you have options. Okay, they'll be displaying all this on the Atari, which is really nice. And then when it's time to play, 2 players are required. Okay, so no computer. I'll be having that other controller plugged in. Still on our Atari computer. After selecting the number of players, you must enter the number of rounds. Press the select key to the right of the main keyboard until the number of rounds desired is displayed to the left of the word rounds on your screen. In selecting the number of rounds, limits apply. Each match must have at least 2 rounds and no more than 15 rounds. Each round takes 90 seconds of real time. Wow, okay, so beginning of the match, we go. How do we fight? Stop the fight. To stop the fight, depress the option key to the right of your main keyboard, one of the buttons on the Atari 800. So you can actually stop the fight if you wanted to. Who mashed that button whenever you played with a friend? Handling your boxers, you use the Atari joystick. That is a very clunky one. Doesn't look like the same VCS one. So to throw a punch, you push the red button and you can raise your arms and lower and move forward and backward. So pretty simple controls. Let's see how well it responds on the Atari. And not seeing anything else. Don't even know how to load the game. But I love the ad in the bottom right. You name it, we've got a game on it. Avalon Hill wanted to do everything. Even tax games or management games. They got all those. All right, we have 2 different versions. Looks like just an alternate version. Here we go. It's time to play Knockout, released by Avalon Hill at the beginning of March 1982. Nice. They have an example of the joystick right here, how to play the game. That's friendly. So number of players, number of rounds, and you can do this pushing the option or select button and then start the game. So if we do number of players, can we do only one player? It's not giving me... I'm pushing option on our Atari 800, but it's not saying who's going to be in the game. Well, I'll get two joysticks just in case. And the number of rounds, is that one displayed anywhere? It doesn't say anything when I'm hitting the select button. But what about start? Oh, start works. We're in. Shake hands, come out boxing. We're in. Now, I'm playing as the left side, and then do we have the right? Yeah, so two joysticks are plugged in. Controls are pretty simple. If you push the red button, you're going to use your fist to punch, but it's alternating your punch. So you're always going to constantly go left, right, jab. And then if you hold up, you have left, right, and up and down. And that's it for controls. So let's move into the center. Let's go crazy. So I guess that's block. If you hold your fists up, it's just come close to each other. We're sniffing each other's noses. But it's two players required. At least whenever I tried to do the player option, it wasn't allowing me to do two different people. But very large sprites, very reminiscent of Intellivision. Intellivision had a cooler viewpoint, I'd say. But the response is pretty good. A little slow paced. When you expect a boxing game to be fighting each other, this feels like it's kind of slowed down, or muted is a way to put it. Not as intense. It also feels like I'm just hitting a dummy and not a real person right now. Yes, not until Mike Tyson's Punch Out. That's way later. That's the late 80s. That'll be years from now on Chronologically Gaming. This guy is not going down. If you look at the top of the screen, my score, I've hit him 40 times. I'm not playing against another person, but they're not going down. And the round is 5 seconds left. Does this guy even fall down? It's punching a sponge. And where's the sound and music they claimed on the box? What's up, microcomputer? I don't hear anything except the... And they even give you a cooldown. So you have a 20-second wait before the next round. Yeah, it feels very much like it's the 20s. Listen here, see? I want to punch you in the face. I don't like the way you look at me. Let's go. So 6 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we go in again, and you're playing. So with two people, it could be enjoyable, but you just got to imagine the fighting games we played after playing the Biles Toad. This thing is nothing like a fighting game. But I still accommodate them for a very well done on the computer boxing game. So of all the games we've seen up to this point, I'd still say it's around average for a title you'd see on for a sports title and a boxing game. I'll do 3 stars for Knockout, a typical 1982 game. Yeah, that's true. The top-down Activision is charming, though. It's faster, more responsive, I'd say, than this one. All right, so after Knockout, let's see where we're going now. It's time to go to the IBM PC, and this is Maxit. What is Maxit? I don't know. We have no box, just a few screenshots. What do the screenshots show us? Oh, gosh. I don't know what that means. For other versions, we're loading up Maxit. This is by Del Patrick Lebo, sometime in March 1982. Del Patrick? If your name's Del, you better get out there and sell computers before Michael Dell takes over. All right, here we go. Maxit. Rewritten by Owen McGuillem. Maxit's played on an 8x8 grid of squares, each containing a point value, ranging from -9 to 15. One of the squares is initially designated with a marker that indicates your current position. Player 1 takes any square on the same row as the marker. When player 1's done, player 2 makes a similar move, except choosing between the squares in the column. Play alternates until all squares are taken until a player is left without a valid move. Now, this is proof of that we're in the Wild West of video games. Everyone can make whatever they want. It's so cool. This one is trying to do a puzzle game. Something brand new, because I've never heard of Maxit before. Is Maxit an actual board game? Or was this only for computers? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's a math game or educational either. So after the introduction, you'll be prompted for the 2 players' names. If you want to use a computer player, just omit that for the other. And then after the names, you'll be asked whether or not you want to use the standard board that's randomly assigned for each game. But the frequency of the point value is fixed. Non-standard will randomly Yeah, so maybe it is math game, and we can also hit F1 for more detailed help, but we are not. Let's go in and see if we can figure it out. All right, so Maxit, player one's name. Last person in chat was Chiptune. Look at that, capital letters. And I'll play as player 2. Standard board, sure. It's our first time playing Maxit. Okay, so here we go. It says I'm Chiptune now, and I'm on the stars. So if I want to move, what do I do to move my cursor around? Do I go north? Up? Oh, is it? It is. You're using the number pad. So the number pad is how you move yourself around. And you see what I have to do is decide which direction I want to go, and then what do you hit enter? You do. Okay, so the way it works is I just picked a section to go to, and I think I picked 0 for no score. So now I'm going to go as chrono, and I can only pick anything on this column now as chrono. So I want points, so I'm going to go 7 and pick that. And now Chiptune's up, and so Chiptune can only pick anything from this row. He's going to go for the highest value, so go for 7. And now you go vertically. It looks like I'm going to go 15. And now the only place you can pick is the next row, and lots of negatives showing up here. So let's do 3, and then I can only pick now from this column. So I get the idea. It is a math game. So if any one of the brainiacs that wants to do math in their head and decide where would be the best way to end your point value, because right now I'm deciding between all the numbers in this column. If I say 5 because I want points, that means I have to look ahead and see what Chiptune has on the row. Then now Chiptune's going to go, and he can now snag that 8, and then now I can snag the 9, and then you just keep going and going until you get to the end. So yeah, it's really not an educational title. It's partially a game, but just borderline a game. But I figured it out. The introduction was a little complicated, but that's how the game's played. I'd say it'd be fun for a little bit of time, and especially if it's original. Is this something that was not a board game? They just made it for the computer. I dig it. All right, so Maxit, I'd say of all the games we played, your mileage varies depending on what kind of enjoyment you get. I'd say 2.5 stars for Maxit, maybe even 2, because yeah, I'll say 2.5. It's got an interesting concept, but still, how interested would you be to play this compared to everything else out there? Yes, we're trying everything, all sequels, and yes, we're going to see the Purina dog food game at some point. I think it is this year in '82. We'll see. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. Let's go to the arcades and play Naughty Boy. Most of the guys that were in the arcade were Naughty Boys. Let's take a look at the artwork for Naughty Boy. So this one is the German advertising flyer. Witzig, Splitzig, Wollespennig. Pardon me, my German is not good. And there is the North America or other regions by Cinematronics, leading the way to higher profits. Naughty Boy has fast-paced action for greater play. What is going on with the kid? It looks like he's just jogging through a jungle being chased by beehives or something. I'm just going to go around. Is he really a naughty boy? I don't think so. At least not in that picture. Now, the first version we're going to be playing, we're going to Japan to play this because this is by Jaleco. And this is the Japanese advertisement flyer. Naughty Boy. Lots of screenshots because this one's a vertically scrolling game. Japan Leisure, it looks like from the bottom left corner. Yeah, Japan's advertising flyers have been better, except Atari. Atari knows how to do advertisement flyers for arcade games. We flip it over in the back and it explains exactly how to play, especially if you know Japanese. Looks like we are going to be playing as a character throwing things and just doing naughty things. And you get points for doing that. Just a bad influence on children. This makes the kids want to throw rocks. Don't play this game. Here is an example of the arcade cabinet, at least the one in North America. Yeah, terrible artwork. I don't know why they picked that kid. The one they have here is a much better, I'd say in the bottom right corner. Like that's a better mascot with a big N written on his chest. There's the PCB, and then for the controls, is this just move and shoot? Yes, 4-way joystick, like a top-down maze game, and throw. So we only have one button. And there's the arcade marquee in North America. Naughty Boy. We got the manual. Let's see what the manual has for us. That is bare bones manual, Naughty Boy. This is the Cinematronics one, so does it have anything about the game itself? Never heard or played this one. I know of games called Naughty Boy for the microcomputer scene in Europe, but not in the arcade. Game description. Naughty Boy proceeds through 4 different screens. These screens will appear in sequence. Each time a player successfully maneuvers through all 4 screens, the screens repeat their appearance with more objects moving at higher speeds. In addition, after successfully completing even-numbered rounds, the player is awarded a bonus round. Love it. Got to get the bonus round in. So we got screen 1, you're standing in a forest and several monsters are there. There's also a safety zone that can be entered through the 2 red doors that monsters cannot enter. The same type of doors appear on fences alongside of the screen. They can appear on the other side of the screen by passing through one of these doors. Wow, what an advertisement. Okay, this is the manual. This manual is going through, what is this, 4 total screens, right? This is going through all the details of every screen. Thank you. The manual is actually telling you how to play the arcade game in detail and giving you all the tips and tricks. So this is just screen 1 of what you're going to do in screen 1. Look at that. All this information about screen 1 that you need to do. Hopefully there's not objectives because we have to refer back to the manual. Then you have screen 2. It's an open field, safety zones in the center of the field. You have monsters and goblins scattered around. And it's the same as the first screen, it says. Then you got screen 3 is adventure in the center of the maze. And then screen 4, you're standing in the safety zone and some pawns. Dragon will appear randomly. And then the bonus round. What to do in the bonus round? Scoring monsters, goblins, and robots. That was just them throwing a dartboard and saying, what are we going to put in the game? Okay, we landed on monsters, goblins, and robots. Throw them in there. Number of Naughty Boys per game operator can be adjusted with the dip switches. Got it. All right, we're going. It's time to play Naughty Boy in the arcade, released some point in the beginning of March 1982 by Jaleco. Oh no, we got the North American artwork. Do we have the Japanese? We couldn't get the Japanese, so we're stuck in the North American artwork of the really bad Naughty Boy character. But here's the attract mode, breaking down the point systems. What do we get for everything? Got to capture some flags, it looks like. And there it is, vertically scrolling. Whoa! Top down, not controlling a tank and moving around. Let's put a coin in and see what it's like. Yes. Okay, so the only button I have is the fire button, and if I'm tapping the button, it just falls right in front of me. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Now, I don't think it's pressure sensitive, but when I hold the button down, I can lob my rocks even further. What happens if I hit the question mark? Oh, nice. I'm invincible. And can I get the watermelon? Go through this side. It wouldn't let me get the watermelon. But it seemed when I wanted to pick up question marks, I had to land my rock on the question marks. This is essentially a very early version of a top-down run and gun. Instead of using bullets, though, you're using a rock to shoot, but the idea that I can change how far away it's going to go. Let's slip in here. Is it a safe zone? It is, so you can stay in here, looks like until the timer goes out. But look at that, you're throwing the rocks and you're destroying trees, which is awesome. Never heard of this one. This feels like a really early Atari Warriors, or I'm just... My history of video games is mostly from late 80s and 90s, and so in anything earlier, I'm always comparing it to something else. Because that's mostly what I know. But now that we've seen and played everything, this is a great idea. It's essentially taking what we've seen with tank games, moving around, but now you get to play as a person. It just feels more satisfying somehow. Maybe because they made it so you could... Oh gosh, you really have to dodge too. Maybe because they made the projectile go short and fast at the same time. Good shout out for the Partridge Family there, Chip 2. Alright, so if we push start, it remembers. So we get checkpoints. Alright, let's see how many we can take out here. It's only a 4-way joystick, so I don't have the freedom to do diagonal movement. It feels like I should, though. It's so satisfying, though. And you can see here at the end, I gotta be able to aim every shot and knock out all the flags. Oh, wow, yeah, tricky. Oh, the flags reset? So in a way, it's almost a combination of a gallery shooter, but you have a person you can move around freely on the screen. And of course, scroll vertically. Because I played so many games that have this style, it feels very weird to play it on a 4-way joystick without being able to go diagonally. I just gotta remind myself, it's 1982. Alright, this doesn't look good. Why can't I pick up the cup of tea? Alright, let's go through this side. Oh gosh! So with one flag left, the play control though is pretty cool. I love it. Yeah, Frontline used the gun though, right? And Frontline didn't have where you fire a shot, you can determine how far it's going to go. It almost feels like we're playing a game that allows you to throw grenades and you're lobbing the grenades, because this is, I'm having to time how long I need to hold this down. Go, go, go. No! I was getting a little reckless. I should have gone through the side. Yeah, the scrolling is a really nice touch. Smooth scrolling, too. Oh, let's go for this. Why can't I get the... No, go away! Wait a second, I can wrap around the side? Oh, nice! That's good. I'm not following a path like you would in Frontline, but I don't know why I'm comparing it to Frontline. We don't know what Frontline is. This is all we know. The newest, latest, greatest arcade game. I like the idea that enemies get knocked down on the first hit, and then you destroy them to get more points later. Alright, I'm trying to use my invincibility while I can. Oh, I can knock off 2 at a time? I did it! Wow. Having the goal to get further and further is great. What in the world is this? It is the creepiest. It's like Miss Pac-Man's ant that we're shooting down at the bottom of the screen. Am I firing umbrellas and crosses at? So you get a bonus for that? That's crazy. And now we're in a totally different area. Mixing it up, still gonna take out the flags at the end. And bear in mind, we didn't read the whole manual. I'm winging it, but figuring it out very well. So it's an arcade game that doesn't require as much instruction. I'm sure we could learn much more if we read all the manual with what all the rooms or phases look like. You also can't fire directly in front of you, so it throws me off thinking I have a gun that's going to shoot it, but it feels more like I'm tossing grenades, and I got to remember that. And yeah, action's going to get hectic here. No, go. I'll use that side of the screen to help me out. Let's see. And then they have the power-up, too. Give you this invincibility phrase for a sec. Quickly, go. Oh, yeah. Feels like an action game, leaving the scene in complete fire. It also has destructible environments. I can blow my way through the trees, and then the fence. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Alright, there we go. That's Naughty Boy. Of all the games we've seen to this point, excellent. Definitely, or easily, a 4-star game, considering the other arcade games up to this point. The scrolling, the play control, I would say, would be the weak point. We played other games that have a firepower, that allows you to move a little bit more freely. So the 4-way joystick is a little clunky, but that's a minor gripe considering the other ones we've seen. I'm going to say 4 stars for Naughty Boy. Awesome. And let's press forward and see our next game. Here we go. It's the Commodore PET, the computer that just won't die. And this is Night Drive. Let's take a look at Night Drive. This one doesn't have a box. Not even sure if it is real, but I was able to finally get this one to run on the correct Commodore PET system. So here we go. Let's pop it and play some Night Drive. This is by Jay Suzuki at some point in March 1982. And for the very first time on the Commodore PET, we actually have to use command line and load the game up. It takes... it feels like this will be very rudimentary because it's 1982. I feel like the Commodore PET, we haven't seen anything that's really pushing how good video games, like the TRS-80 that came out around the same time. But this one is one of the later models, and here we go. Please don't crash on me now. Ready? Go! We are so spoiled here in Chronologically Gaming. It's 1982, and I feel like the Commodore PET and having to type in a command to make the game run. We shouldn't have to do that. There you go. Developed by Jay Suzuki. Way to go, Jay. So this one is no joystick, like most of the Commodore PET games. And the A for accelerate, 4 and 6 to move left and right. So here we go. A, 4, and 6. Let's go. Yeah, there we go. No sound. I wasn't really expecting sound. We've already crashed. Bang! We got a high score of 0. So the bottom of the screen showing our acceleration. And this one looks actually pretty impressive for the Commodore PET. As far as controls, though, yikes. It is very difficult to respond to go left and right. Am I doing 4 and 6 correctly? Oh, that's why. I was using... You have to use 4 and 6 on the number pad. Now we're going. Now we're crashing, too. And the speed. It makes you feel like you're playing a really fast game on the PET. It's so hard to do. Wait, I didn't crash anything. This is, of course, based on Night Driver that we saw. So Night Drive is one we've seen ported to a few systems in lots of computers. For the Commodore PET, though, I'm amazed that it's doing this. This is a first-person game on the Commodore PET. While the control is terrible, if you had only a PET at the time in 1982, this would be really impressive. And fun to play. Mileage on how far you'd get, though. Look how large the car is. It feels like I'm playing this driving in a single dirt road with pylons at night. Yeah, the game that makes you want to crash. Game over. I'm today's high scorer, though. Love it. All right, so Night Drive, I'd say for all the games we played up to this point, it's subpar. Now, the Commodore PET, though, the fact that it was doing this, I would have rated it higher. So if you want to help me out in the chat... I know, I was so close to being done. This game has no sound, but it's programmed very, very well for the Commodore PET. And it's something for a system that's past its prime and something we haven't seen a lot of games for. I wanted to show this just to show that at this point in 1982, people were still using and playing games on the Commodore PET, believe it or not. Okay, yeah, so 2.5 is the consensus, and I'd go 2.5 as well. That's for every home computer game up to this point in 1982. All right, with that, let's see what our next game is. Oh, from one obscure to another. Here is Panzer-Schlacht on the ZX81. It's time to go to Germany and play a game that we have no other information for except a screenshot. This is March 1982. Let's play some Panzer-Schlacht. Now, if you already know some German, you'd realize it's Panzer, which is tank. And so here we are on our ZX81 playing a tank game. This is using keyboard commands only, so I'm playing as number 1 right now. You can twist and spin around. The cannon can only move in 4 directions. So it's a tank game that doesn't even give you the freedom to move diagonally. It's only 4 different directions. And it's all keyboard controlled. Now, where's the other controls? Oh my gosh, they're so close to each other. So I'm using Z and X to spin player 1, cannon. C to move, and then V to fire. So that row of keys at the bottom. And then the other player, I'm using N to spin the cannon, and B, and M to move forward, and then the comma to shoot. So, okay, so imagine it's 1982. You and your friend have a ZX81. Or a Timex Sinclair 1000. I don't think you would have had this because this is Germany. But how you and your friend would have to be so close to each other to play the game that you better be really friendly with who you're playing with. Maybe a good game to play with a girlfriend or a wife, because then you'd be snuggled up right next to each other, shoulder to shoulder to play. You're crammed in. And to think of the ZX81, the keyboard is so small. It's just crazy to think of that. Can we even go? Let's play this. Now, with modern emulation, you can map these keys to play with a joystick. I'm playing on the keyboard. I want to do it and try to be as authentic as possible. But the ZX81 had the membrane keyboard, the spongy one, so it must have been way different. Yes, late at night. Okay, there you go. So I'm firing at player 2, and all it does is increase the score. Now, the fact that this doesn't give you all the range that Combat did, that we had in 1977 on the VCS. This is only 4 different directions. That's going to be a totally different experience. And there's no ricochet, right? And there's no game options. Yeah. Oh, but if you touch a wall, you die. I didn't know that, so I just ran to the wall and died. So there you go. Panzer-Schlacht. Of all the games we've seen up to this point, pretty ambitious for the ZX81. The way that it plays, though, I got to give it low points for the control, using the keyboard and so close to everybody else. I don't really want to say it's a bad game, though. It works and it's playable, and it's a smooth frame rate for the ZX81. Oh, still bad. Yeah, for the controls, we'll say 2 stars of all the games we've seen up to this point. And think about it, 1977 gave us Combat, and then way before that, in the 70s, early 70s, we had Tank. So it's kind of past the mark. But if it was Germany and that's all you had, I could see you having much enjoyment playing Panzer-Schlacht. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. We're back on the BBC Micro. This is Philosopher's Quest. Let's take a look at Philosopher's Quest, starting with the box. So this one has 2 different ones. First, published by Acorn Soft Games for the BBC Model B. Don't know what's happening on the front of the box. We got people that are in the background chanting or dancing around the Philosopher. And then we have the alternate box. This one is by Topologica, or at least published that way, with some very creepy English artwork. All pencil. Oh, man. It looks like, is that Peter Kilworth who did this one? So maybe it's Peter with his grandmother on the front of the box. The best in British adventure games. Yeah, if you went to the computer store in England, which one of these boxes would better sell Philosopher's Quest to you? Why would you want to buy the box with this one? Yes, that's what it looks like. British Psycho, right? And that's where they're living in the background. Welcome to the adventure. This pack contains programs on cassette, plus instructions for Philosopher's Quest, an intelligent adventure where the player explores a strange land full of weird and unlikely things. Some dangerous, some even magical. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the games that, when it first came out, started the trope in England that you need to be smart enough to beat the game. This game, Philosopher's Quest, is brutally unfair. It is, up to this point, we played a lot of adventure games that are unfair, and they have puzzles that don't make sense, or they even fool you or trick you. This game is the king so far of brutally difficult adventure games. This one is so crazy that most people never finished it. I looked up walkthroughs for this, and the walkthroughs have random elements to it that you still won't be able to beat the game. That's how crazy difficult this is. So inside the box, we have some information on the flap before you boot it up. It shows you how to load, the instructions of how to play the game, and then the game starts with a description of your immediate surroundings and a choice of objects of which to take. Use take followed by the name of the object with you on your quest. Choose carefully before setting off with a command such as west, if you want to try going west, or NE to go northeast. The computer becomes your eyes and hands. It tells you what to do. Okay, I want to hear advice over this. Tunnels bend sometimes, so going north from one room doesn't necessarily involve entering the next room from the south. Most areas are not lit. If you move in the dark, you cannot also pick up objects or treasures. So if the game tells you it's dark, something will be there, but you can't see it, so it won't tell you it's there. Eating and drinking are not allowed by order. Means the computer doesn't understand, and you should try something else. What? I don't understand that part. And then useful words they can use, but oh man, for everything I've read, Philosopher's Quest is the first just way too hard a game. I wonder how many people actually finished this back in 1982, because it seems impossible. So we got lots of different ones with different variations of how you can boot it up. We're going to go to England and play Philosopher's Quest. Released at some point in March 1982. Well, we haven't seen it yet, but so far, this one is the one that's way too unfair. So I have a walkthrough with me to give us a little bit of hints, but there's things like at the beginning of the game, you can't even take everything. It won't let you. You only pick 2 things to take. You're in the shop. There is an aqualung here. There's a bunch of keys here. There's a cup of tea here and a steel rod here. So let's get keys. Or I didn't say take. Okay, it did work. Get tea. We'll take the cup of tea, please. You can't do that. Oh, why not? Maybe you have to get cup of tea. Okay, there we go. We've only seen a couple games. This is their second game for the BBC Micro, but you gotta admit, even though a text-adventure game, look at the resolution. Look at the text on the screen. It's so sharp. It is the newest, coolest computer in England. So let's say north now. You can't go in that direction. They're already yelling at us. What about south? Oh no, it's pitch black. Or pitch dark. Can we keep going south? You got eaten by a giant spider in the dark. Oh dear, you're dead. You've scored 0 out of 250. Would you like another game? Yes. Yes, sir, I would like another. Wait, it's pitch dark. Wait, does that mean we started... It didn't start the game over from the beginning? What? So what if I go north? Can I go back up? Oh no, so it did not let us continue where we left off. Or I didn't say the right command again, so here, we'll go back in. We'll actually follow the walkthrough. And do it the right way. Don't think we're going to get very far. Even though we have walkthroughs and other adventure games we played, this one is way too unfair. And it's too bad because the trope of this game is too difficult turns into advertising in England, where they have a game and they say, this game's too hard for you. That's what was selling the games. People thought that they couldn't finish the game, and so they're like, well, I'll show them and I'll buy the game. Get steel rod. And so let's go get aqualung. I don't know for sure. Cheating in 1982. Wouldn't that be just copying the disc? Isn't that the ultimate cheating? All right, so throw keys. You're not holding that. Oh, that's right. We're not holding the keys. Okay, throw the keys. Go south. No light here and no lamp. In this game, all the games in the Phoenix Heritage, you can get objects in the dark, even if you've never seen them before. So get and get again. So light, lamp. What? Wait, we don't have the lamp? Oh, I see. So the walkthrough is explained to me that it only allows you to pick 2 things, but if you trick the game and you leave and come back or do something to show the game that you've already picked up 2 objects, then you can end up having 4 different objects. So we still can't even get past the first section of this game. Now, I thought games like The Demon's Forge was unfair. That was a really unfair one for the Apple II. This one takes the cake. So I'd say even for all the games we played, I'm going to just say it's bad because of the difficulty. And we never really play adventure games super long on the show anyway, but still, 2 stars will do for Philosopher's Quest. It is a bad title. But not because it's not programmed well, it's just too darn difficult. All right, so that's where we're going to put our video game playing on pause tonight. Push the pause button. We're in March 1982, playing every single video game. I love that we don't know what's going to happen next, but I do know when you know something's coming up, like, Pac-Man's coming at some point in March. We're going to see Pac-Man sometime, and really exciting as we continue playing every single video game. That's it for today, and like I always say, if you want to do a video game that's a text adventure game, just make it brutally difficult. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.